What is up, my friends, and welcome to the UFL Week In Review, one of the longest-running UFL podcasts in human history. This is show number 43, and it's officially week one of the UFL 2025 season. But we have got some major drama going on behind the scenes. Coach Barlow is gone. We'll talk about his major move, plus staff leaving. Ken Whisenhunt, that's another UFL coach out, his sudden exit. We'll talk about that. A look at Friday Fox's headwinds. You're not going to want to miss this article that I put out there, plus week one betting lines. Also, Fox announced their booth. We've got expansion talk. We'll see if that actually ever happens. We will have that and so much more. You're not going to want to miss this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and leave us a review on iTunes and Spotify. And also, you can email us, podcast@uflnewshub.com, or call 888-430-7692 extension 3 to be part of the show. With that being said, we've got a lot to get to. Let's get into it.
Here we go.
These players are going to play hard-nosed, intense football, passionate football.
Corner of the end zone! On the money!
Every play matters.
They're going to ball out.
Touchdown! Look at this crowd. I mean, they are into this. For the win. He's got it!
Spring football is here to stay.
In a not surprising move, but a surprising move, Reggie Barlow is no longer the DC Defenders head coach. This happened a couple days ago. Just days away before this kickoff. In a surprising turn, DC Defenders head coach Reggie Barlow left the league to take a head coaching position at Tennessee State University. Of course, UFL president and CEO Russ Brandon and UFL executive vice president, which they don't say football operations. They've been telling him as a UFL executive vice president. I don't know if that's changed. Has named Defenders quarterbacks coach Shannon Harris as interim head coach. But there's a twist. As reported in Mike Organ of the Tennessean, he will be bringing a lot of his staff from the DC Defenders. And we just saw somebody post online that includes Greg Williams as well is leaving to go coach after the season. We'll get into that. So Barlow said he will bring, this is from the Tennessean, Barlow said he will bring most of his staff from the DC Defenders to TSU. Most of the Georgia's staff followed him to Bowling Green. He's talking about Eddie George. Those coming to with Barlow to Nashville include former TSU offensive coordinator Fred Cass, who is the DC Defenders offensive coordinator, former TSU and offensive coordinator Shannon Harris, who's the current head coach, and former TSU offensive line coach Russ Enfield. And now add to the mix, supposedly, Greg Williams. What's even more interesting about Barlow, and this is the part that kind of surprised me a little bit, is that Barlow leaving the UFL so close to the season, he's going into a school that actually has his own financial problems. TSU has undergone extensive staff cuts and layoffs while dealing with financial shortcomings and a drop in enrollment. The school is awaiting state approval to repurpose $154.5 million in state funds intended to help steer the school out of its current conundrum. Barlow, 53, accepted the job fully aware of the school's financial challenges. Think about this from an optics perspective. He took a job at a school that is struggling financially at Tennessee State University because that probably pays better than the UFL head coaching job. Just think about that for a second. Now, we assume all the coaches will be paid year-round with full health benefits as well. And that is something that the UFL does not offer its coaches. The Tigers play in the Ohio Valley Conference. That's a D1 school. Did the NFL know this was going to happen? This was in part of the league's press release. It talked about Coach Harris stepping in and continuing the culture that Reggie Barlow built with the Defenders. But apparently none of the DC Defenders coaches will be back next season. They're all going to take a job at Tennessee State University because most likely that pays better than being a coach in the UFL. That's the way I read the tea leaves. Anybody else want to challenge me on that? Tell me I'm wrong? Well, then I would love to know. So in the press conference yesterday, Barlow reiterated that he'll be taking his DC Defender staff after the 2025 season. He said, quote, as soon as this deal is over with DC, basically saying he's keeping them there, which I think it's fine. It's 10 weeks. Vaughn Hutchins will probably be continuing as GM, but basically everybody else, the DC Defenders, is gone. So, I mean, there's so much to unpack here. But, clearly taking that job over the DC Defenders job, which is the second best franchise in the league, kind of tells you something. Going to a school that has financial difficulties, that tells you something of what's going on with this league. And this multi-billion-dollar company that owns the league, multiple billionaire companies, that they're not taking care of their players and coaches. They've cut back the coaches' pay. They've cut the health insurance. Coaches are not yearly salaried. I get that sort of, but now my opinion is starting to change because I feel like the wheels are coming off this league pretty fast. So he is out. Coach Barlow is out. And I don't know, could the team rally and kick butt this year and make it to the championship and win it all? Would be a fantastic ending to the season based on the storyline that we have right now. Or they could just everybody one foot out the door, sloppy play, disinterested players. Like, we don't know how this is going to turn out, but definitely some shocking news before the season got started. Not one, but two UFL head coaches are now gone. The newest one, Ken Whisenhunt, who actually asked to be part of this league, according to Daryl Moose Johnson. This came totally as a shocker. He's stepping away for personal reasons. The shocking announcement couldn't come at a worse time for a team. Remember, they just got him as their new coach. The Showboats offensive line coach, Jim Turner, will take over as the interim coach. However, Whisenhunt's departure leaves the team at a distinct disadvantage since he was also their offensive coordinator. They'll be trading with another coach when it comes to that. Remember John DiFilippo's staff? He left last year. They brought in here. Memphis is a location that really needs the jolt. Ken Whisenhunt was going to be the guy. We're hearing that tight ends coach TJ Vernini will also be calling plays. And you leave a guy that was your offensive coordinator, a great coach in the NFL, and now he's gone for personal reasons, allegedly. I will just put it that is not what I've heard behind the scenes. So the statement from, that Whisenhunt has made the culture of the Memphis Showboats in his brief time, basically like 3 or 4 weeks. Been very impressed, and we're excited to see the team perform week 1. We take pride. UFL being a family-first league, okay, and we respect Ken's decision to leave of absence for personal reasons at this time. I have not. I would love to confirm that is the case. I have heard that is not the case. It was definitely a personal decision, but for personal reasons, leave of absence for personal reasons. It's not what you think. But that's what I heard. I pray that his family is okay, but that is not what I heard of the reason why he left. And I'll just leave it at that. Great head coaching career with the Arizona Cardinals. He won 2 NFC West Division championships and a berth in the Super Bowl in 2008. Head coach for the Tennessee Titans for 2 seasons. Helped lead the Steelers to victory in a Super Bowl as their offensive coordinator. Great coach, great pedigree. And now he is gone along with Reggie Barlow. And a franchise that really needed, this is the worst franchise in the UFL, to lose their head coach a week before the season starts is not a good thing for the league. And I was really hopeful with Ken Whisenhunt under the Memphis Showboats that maybe they can turn things around. But the fact that he's not here anymore, I definitely now pull my allegiance to them. And I think they'll be at bottom of the barrel. I hope not, but again, losing 2 coaches at the beginning of the season, not a good look for the UFL. All right, I wrote this. I took a long time to put this together. UFL heading into headwinds for Friday night's Fox's matchup. Let's break this all down, what I've been talking about. So what I've been hearing and everything like that is in this article as best as I can describe it to you at this time. So as fans get excited about the UFL football returning for its second season, behind the scenes, there is anxiety, uncertainty. Unlike the 2024 season where the league was born with the merger of the XFL and USFL, where there was a sense of endless possibilities with spring football finally heading in the right direction. We're going in the right direction. We merged together soon. We're ready to rock and roll. 2025, we're going to go hit the ground running in 2025 with a full year behind us. And I'm just telling you that is not the case. From UFL News Hub has been hearing from behind the scenes is that players, coaches, and staff, I'm not talking about coaching staff, I'm talking about people in the league, are not happy at all. Everybody is really frustrated. We had 2 head coaches leave out of 8, leave basically a week before the season. They did for different reasons. However, the foundation of why they left is the same, and I'll just leave it there at that. We're hearing from UFL News Hub sources that there could be more coaches on the way out as well. Yes, stay tuned for that. Like I said, no one's happy. And I've heard this since the beginning of the season starting, when they all started going to camp and everything like that. So that's the way things are standing, at least with the head coaching side. So we're going to break down why I'm saying headwinds going into the first game of the season this Friday, because this is going to be an interesting day. Friday. First, the labor dispute. So ESPN had an article today quoting NFL players on the state of contract negotiations with the league. Kaya Nakua, older brother of Los Angeles Rams receiver Puka Nakua, said the following. This is important. It's been tough negotiating with them and trying to figure out where the middle ground is, Nakua said. And I mean, we've been talking for months, and it just doesn't seem like they're budging towards the guys that are making this league happen, close quote. Let's break that all down. So what we've been hearing from sources is that the league, a.k.a. Fox Sports, and specifically UFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations, or did he get a raise or whatever, Daryl Johnston, have been approaching things with players as a take it or leave it mentality. That's what I've been hearing from sources. And remember, the NFLPA called out Fox Sports specifically in that press release. We talked about that earlier, supporting the players union. And I think and I was like, there is a reason why they did that. And I believe that this is why. We don't need, basically the vibe from corporate Fox is we don't need you. We can find more players. That's kind of their point of view. And I've heard that for a while. At issue for the players is year-long. Basically, there's 2 things. Is a year-long health insurance for players and their family, also an up in pay. The players who have been playing spring football essentially since 2020 have not gotten a real increase since then. So think about that. They've been playing since 2020. More or less, things have been taken away from them, then added. Yeah, the USFL had a little bump in pay. I always bring up last year. Do you remember last year? They were supposed to pay the players, the player of the week, the offensive player of the week, the defensive player of the week, and they were going to pay him like $100. And then Moose Johnson was like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to pay them like if they're an all UFL team at the end of the season or something. And I'm like, really? $100? Do you want me to pay Moose Johnson or Fox Sports since you guys don't have the money? You want me to pay? I bet you we can get fans to pay. Maybe we should do that. A GoFundMe to pay the offensive and defensive and special teams players of the week. We all can chip in and pay them $100, but apparently you can't because you're spending your money on your blah, blah. I'm just going to go. I will continue. At issue is the fact that the United Football League is not owned by local businesses like the IFL or AF1. The league is owned by Fox Sports, ESPN, and Redbird Capital Partners. We will leave Dwayne, DJ, The Rock Johnson out of it since we're kind of not sure how much he owns the league, how involved he is in anymore. That's what we've been hearing. So Fox or ESPN, in my opinion, could fire 1 or 2 of their way overpaid commentators to cover the cost of the players' pay. I mean, you think about the waste of money on Fox and Friends and Fox News and the crappy people they have on FS1 that no one watches. Hey, you fired Skip Bayless. You could use his money to pay these players. Or you have on ESPN, regurgitated old dudes that you can get rid of. You can get rid of them and use that to pay your players. But I digress. Fox Sports represented by Fox Corporation. Their market capitalization stands at approximately $24 billion. ESPN is also at $24 billion. Redbird Capital Partners manages approximately $12 billion in assets. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's estimated net worth is around $841 million. We'll throw him in there too. So the combined estimated valuation of all the UFL owners is approximately $60.841 billion. So not having the money is a joke. I mean, one of the issues that I heard was that they were basically players who were looking online and like the new ticketing guy and this new person and seeing the salaries of $300,000 for these people. Now, granted, their job is to generate revenue. All players are also could generate revenue. You can have them sell merch. There's things that you could do with the players to generate revenue from them. I mean, that's why you pay the Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady's all this money, is because they generate you money as well. I'm just saying, but they don't see it that way. They would rather have more corporate shills than, paying their players. You get my drift. So not budging, in my opinion, makes this league seem foolish. In the end, I've just proven it. $60 billion, fire a couple losers from ESPN that nobody watches, Fox News that no one cares about, the state-run media, and then you have FS1, just shut the whole channel down. No one watches that garbage. I mean, no one cares about these people, but you pay them a bunch of money. I digress. And I'm not even a fan. I just want to point out, you get political or whatever. I don't even like CNN and MSNBC either. I think all those channels are just trash. And those are for old people. They get paid. These guys on those channels get paid a hell of a lot of money just to piss people off. It's a very shtick, easy thing to do. I could do it myself, but I choose not to because I'm a positivity person. But I'm a little fired up about this. So not budging makes the league seem foolish. In the end, if the players walk out in this highly charged political climate, it will make the league look bad. Sorry, guys. Also, with what little fan base the league has, AKA check the ticket sales this season, you could fire people thinking that it's their fault, but maybe it's a couple people's fault and pass the buck on, but nothing has changed. Though I do think the marketing has gotten better recently. They're doing things. I think we're moving in the right direction, but you just stupid corporate old white dudes is the problem, in my opinion, because that's basically all that's up there. I'm just being honest, boys. Also, with what little fan base the league has, do you think fans will go to or watch games with scab players? Ask yourself that question. This fan base that you have, which is probably not as big as last year, you think they're going to watch scab players so that you can just put on a television show? Will fans help promote the league to friends or build the foundation of spring football with replacement players? Are you kidding me? And especially nowadays, big corporations, billionaires doing stuff in the country and whether, you know what I mean? The oligarchs and all that kind of stuff. You think that half the country, I mean, just come on. Just come on. And especially the people that watch football too. You're just running into a buzzsaw. Now, I've heard multiple times, this line to Fox, this is just a TV show. That's what I've heard. So you're going to get what you pay for with just a TV show with scab players. If that's your goal, and it doesn't matter, taking care of the players, it's just a joke. And it's a joke. It was going to hurt Danny Garcia's brand. It's going to hurt the Rock's brand. ESPN, Fox, good luck with your cable businesses. Thank goodness Disney has, parks and some Disney cruise lines, because I, for one, have canceled my cable subscription. So good luck, boys. This is actually a valuable property that you should invest in. And I know you've invested in, but let's be honest. You're just playing the game with 1990 rules, boys. It's like like Elon Musk making liberals now hate his Tesla brand, or Bud Light and that Dylan Mulvaney sponsorship thing, both not a good business decision. Those brands will never recover. A walkout by UFL players could have the same effect for the United Football League and spring football. I think it could be done if they walk out. I mean, you're already treading on this variable line of just I don't know. And maybe the league is bankrupt anyways. And you're like, hey, bro, Mark, you don't realize that we've lost $500 million in a year or 2 years or whatever it is. Okay. You're smart. I know you've lost $500 million on some crappy movies that you've probably made or some other investments, but then get out and then let's not play around anymore. Or be honest with the players, because everything we're hearing is that the league is take it or leave it. We're not here to discuss it. 1980s negotiation with a bunch of boomers, and I've made fun of this league before because that's who runs it, is a bunch of boomers and have no clue how to set their clocks on their VCR. We'll just put it that way. What we're hearing from sources is that players and management won't meet again until after week 1 games on Monday. That's kind of where things are kind of headed right now. So I've made my point. I've tried to do this a couple times, just trying to help you guys kind of get a reality check here. But thinking that you can play these, so you're going to get scab players that come out next week? Like, I don't know. I mean, and if it does impact, you can go straight up and just be like, okay, it's this virus that is in this country right now where it's all about money and that's it. And we are moving due to AI and changes in the culture of more of like moving back towards like people. And one of the things that sold the XFL was The Rock and Danny Garcia, player 54. The XFL went out of their way to take care of the players. That was the beginning. Then Fox comes in, and we already heard this with the USFL, cheap, 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 cheap. And then now you have. The problem is that they're paying. These guys have to, it's not about the 4 months thing. This is kind of a year-round thing that they have to train for. And, you know, I get the health insurance more and more. As I talk to people within the league, it makes more sense to me. So what are they selling? What are the UFL selling the players? They're like, hey, we don't need you because, look, you have this, right? And I said this last year when the XFL came on and they were like, all these guys are going to be future stars in the NFL. And I came on right away and I said, duh, no, they're not. Stop lying. People aren't watching to see the next superstar in the NFL. You got 1, Jake Bates. You got 2, Brandon Aubrey. You got 3, Cavante Turpin. They're not superstar quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, defensive ends, any of that kind of stuff. They're special teams players. That's it. Let's be real. These guys should get opportunities, but at best, what we've seen so far is that they're basically some bodies for training camp and practice squad players, which you can make some good money being a practice squad player. So I get that part. So there are 400 players in the UFL. The league likes to sell the idea that there is this opportunity to get back in the NFL, which is true. This is why management feels like they don't need to pay the players. Players can't get this game tape anywhere else, and it's only 4 months out of the year. These are accurate points of view, of course. However, the reality, we like to deal with numbers and facts. At best, 5%, that is 20 players, stay on NFL rosters for any period of time. The research that I was able to pull, it was actually 19 players are currently on NFL rosters. I could be wrong, but we're not talking the difference between 20 and 60. We're talking like 20 and maybe 25 or 19 or something like that. That's it. And we've seen 1 Jake Bates per spring season over the last 3 years. Cavante Turpin, Brandon Aubrey, Jake Bates. All special teams players. 80 players got looks on NFL rosters in 2024. Not NFL roster paychecks. So that means they got a look. Thank you, have a nice day, and they went home. Players train year-round, put their bodies on the line for 3 months. Just think about how many potential star football players looked at the UFL and said no thanks over the last several years due to pay and benefits. It's just not worth it. We heard that in XFL 2020. There was a lot of big-name guys from the CFL that were interested in playing in the XFL because it was kind of like comparable. And then they didn't, and then things have kind of changed and they've gotten worse. Again, with $60 billion combined, we shouldn't even be talking about this, boys. Come on. Don't buy your Porsche or, pay these finance guys to do whatever. You can just invest in a Vanguard fund and come on. Or sell an asset. This could be super valuable. Think about an NFL, a football league, even if it's 10% of the NFL. If it has the possibility, you hear Jerry Cardinale say, this could be the 5th biggest sports league in the country. The 5th biggest. Think about that. And this is what you're doing in year 2. Come on. And I always say this too. I like to say this when I'm dealing with corporate shills. I say those who penny pinch for corporations, and you can use this line. I've given you this line. You can use it. Don't worry about it. It ain't your money. The millionaires behind the scenes will be fine. It's not your money. I've dealt with that with all sorts of stuff on, when you're calling and you're talking to somebody on the phone. I'm like, this ain't your money. Why do you care? It's their money and they're rich and you're not. Do you care? And I also want to point out that I didn't put this in the article. Isn't it a conflict of interest for Moose Johnson to be negotiating with the players in the UFL when he gets a paycheck outside of this league from Fox? Why is he involved? It should be Russ Brandon only. Now, Russ Brandon gets a check from, Redbird Capital Partners, but I would assume that's because he's the CEO of the UFL. He's not getting another check from Fox behind the scenes, somebody who is sucking up to Fox because he don't want to lose his job that really gets him get paid. And I've been a good Moose Johnston person, and I have taken heat for that, even though I've heard otherwise. And I've met the guy, nice guy, met Russ Brandon, nice guy, all these nice guy. I don't understand. Help me understand. Come on the show. Any of you guys want to come on the show and tell your point of view? We'll do it. The 100,000 people that watch the show because you have this big fan base that you think you can just throw scabs in front of and no one will care, but okay. So I think that's a conflict of interest personally, because Fox Sports is the one that's, we can't do the ticket sale. We're not trying to give the raise. That's what it seems like it. I'm just saying. Tell me if I'm wrong. I have no problem coming up here and saying Mark was totally wrong. Doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot. I have no problem doing that. I just want to get to the truth and the facts. That's all I care about. And the numbers. And speaking of numbers, the first Friday night UFL game on Fox has the St. Louis Battlehawks, the biggest franchise in the league. Not my DC Defenders. I can admit it. Taking Houston Roughnecks at 8 p.m. Should be a mid-level team. Was getting 20,000 in the past. Friday night games on Fox is the biggest get for the UFL this offseason. I said the best thing that they did all offseason is the Friday night games on Fox. I think that will be huge. I think it will be a big catalyst for the UFL going forward. But there's a problem. The first game of the season is going to be critical of how the casual fan will see the UFL going forward. If they're watching at all, they could get away with that because of basketball, whatever. But there are multiple problems going into this game, and the main one is ticket sales. So the Houston Roughnecks return to TDECU Stadium. Cool. Win. Their home game during the XFL days. The team did pretty well at the location, and the XFL was like 20,000. However, based on estimates, as low as 800 to 1,000 tickets have been sold. I'm being nice by putting in there that with some estimates at 2,000 to 5,000. I'm hearing more of that 1,000. The league had a full year to sell this game. There's also been high turnover in ticketing, social media, and marketing. Firing guys, bringing in the good old boy network doesn't solve crap. So it's not a good sign. And there's already people I'm hearing that are on the hot seat when the season is over to be blamed. Somebody's going to get their head cut off when it comes to this thing. I've already heard names. So I'm just going to leave that there. Timing is everything, and it might not be all their fault. I'm not going to say it's all their fault. TDECU Stadium is the home of the University of Houston. The number 1 ranked Houston Cougars men's basketball team take on the number 4 Purdue Boilermakers at 10 p.m. Eastern on Friday, March 28th. That's right, the same time as the UFL game. Ouch. That sucks. Also, the forecast for the game. Rain and thunderstorms all day. That sucks. People have told me, hey man, bad karma. I'll just leave it at there. I'm not a karma person. I'm a Christian guy. God is good. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, 100%. And that's how I will leave it at that. But certainly some juju going on there. Add the Cougars baseball team will play at Darrell and Laurie Schroeder Park, which is walking distance to TDECU Stadium. That game starts at 6:30. Though that game might get rained out due to the weather. But also, if the league could get people to come over from that game, that would be great as well. So maybe they can make it work out depending on the weather goes. So bad start to the season between low attendance or a player walkout. It is not the way we want to start the 2025 UFL season. There is energy around this league that fans want to be all in and bring in new fans. I complain to my wife all the time. I want to be all in, but I've been burned doing this for 5, 6, 7 years. Hype down. It can work. But I fear that Oliver Luck just chatting in my brain in the background was like, you can only do it with one person at the top with all the money and then one person to answer to. And when it's multiple corporations, things just don't happen. If it was like when it was Danny Garcia, The Rock, and Redbird Capital, you had 3 players and that's it. And Danny Garcia was the president. She was in charge. Let's even say she wasn't. And it was just Redbird Capital, but it was like one Redbird Capital partner. Danny Garcia had to talk to Redbird Capital. They worked it out together and that's it. Now you have ESPN. You have all these things. And now, which seemed like a good thing, now they can't take this package and go to to Netflix or to other places and bid on this stuff so they could get $100 million so they could say, hey, now we can pay our players $100,000 a year because we just got $100 million for this property. So there's just so much problem. So unfortunately, we will have to see what happens. It's hard to get excited about something you fear might not be there in a couple of days. That's right. That's how I am. I am like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I could see the UFL just being like, you know what? This ain't worth it. Maybe, hey, you heard it was 60 million. It was 160 million lost every year. Again, paying your players a little bit more doesn't seem like a lot. I've heard the number, even if it's $3 million to increase to have the players health insurance or something like that. I mean, again, but if you're worth billions, so I don't know. I think spring football can live. It might not be this model anymore. It might have to go back to the Vince McMahon type of model. We'll see about that. So unfortunately for spring football fans, this has happened before to us multiple times, but we wait with fingers crossed for Friday to see what happens. So that's a lot to chew on. I wanted to get it all out there. I don't have hate for anybody. I just want to see this league succeed. At the end of the day, this creates jobs. This creates, fandom. This is good for television. This is good for the people that work at the stadiums. It's a good thing across the board. I just feel like maybe there's some bottlenecks and some old school thinking behind the scenes that are screwing stuff up. But I want this league to succeed. So do everybody listening to this show. Fans want this league to succeed. I think it can. But this labor thing, as much as it's like, oh, no, it's not going to be anything. I've heard it's a lot of players. It's way more than 50% of the players are fed up and upset. Let's put it that way. Not like 3 or 5 people. It's way more than that. And we'll just have to find out. Oh, yeah, we also have the little screenshot here on the video if you're about the tickets going on in Houston right now. And, I'm super excited to go to the game this weekend, DC Defenders. I just don't know if we're going to have a game or not. It's just, we're just kind of waiting to see. And even if they're like, okay, like they come to some resolution and we'll wait till Monday to kind of whatever, it's still like I've been burned. We've been burned before. It's just a bad look all around. So with that being said, let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll just have to endure this a little bit longer, shall we?
Want every United Football League score and stat at your fingertips? Download the UFL News Hub app, now available on the App Store and Google Play. Get game scores, schedules, and stats right on your phone. Set up alerts for breaking news. Check standings and league leaders with just a tap. The UFL News Hub keeps you connected with game scores, team schedules, start times, player stats, and rankings. Don't miss out on UFL action. Download the UFL News Hub app today on the App Store or Google Play Store. UFL News Hub, your direct connection to United Football League action.
All right, we are back with our quick-hitting news and notes. First, Fox Sports. And people were upset. They were like, when's Fox going to do it? I knew they were going to do it. They wait till the last minute. That's fine. Kurt Menefee, Joe Klatt return on the booth. We're excited to see them. Kevin Kluger, Connor Onion, Mark Sanchez, Robert Smith, Brock Heward, Devin Gardner, Jenny Taff, and Jake Butt round out the stellar Fox broadcasting people. So we're glad to see all that. Glad to see Brock Heward back in there. He's an OG for the UFL. Plus, they got the Fox Deportes doing some new technology stuff. Drone cams. Yeah, no one cares. But fine. You think that's a big deal to fans. Oh, that's what's going to sell tickets. Drone cams. But okay, cool. You want to try new things? I don't have a problem with that. Always trying new things. Nothing wrong with that. UFL expanded marketing effort for the 2025 season. So Sports Business Journal Ben Fisher had reported details on the United Football League's expanded marketing effort and outlook for the 2025 season. He talked to Russ Brandon. The UFL has spent money in the offseason on its marketing arm, which is key for the league's success. I really think they just kind of, in the end, the league has expanded marketing and sales staffs at the team and league level in its first full offseason, negotiating better television windows and made inroads with local communities. I don't think basically anybody living in those local communities has heard basically nothing. At least that's what people are telling me. But I think, and he said, after years of turmoil and spring football, it's also is counting on stability to help drive sales and fan engagement. Again, deal with the labor situation to get some stability there. We knew it would take we knew that the UFL and XFL were going to merge at some point. He says that the UFL is here to stay. Continued growth, continue put in our rearview mirror. The question is the league coming back next year, which Russ Brandon would always said. He says, I don't hear that anymore. I hear it a lot in the beginning. And that's fine. There's nothing about that. I've also heard, they're coming back, or it's the XFL. And that was the thing. I think I've looked back and I've talked to a couple of people about this. I think that the UFL, they should have not changed the name to the UFL. They should have kept XFL or USFL. It's kind of confused fans out there thinking, because they were like, what league is it? Oh, it's the merged league. I don't know. Like they get confused. So they probably should have just kept it. No doubt the viewership of the 2024 UFL season was a success, and that's what Fox they care about. Executives believe the year was a success, at least considering the short run-up period. The games averaged 850,000 TV viewers, regular season top 1 million for each of the 3 postseason. That alone puts the UFL in competitive category for spring weekend sports options, beating regular season NFL game and NHL games. And industry observers already talk about the UFL as a viable replacement for Sunday night baseball on ESPN in some weeks if the network and MLB don't get back together, which it's sounding like they're not to. Yes, that would be great. Not with scab players. 2025 season will be interesting to see if the numbers hold or improve. The problem is cord cutting. More people moving to streaming platforms. ESPN and Fox don't release their streaming numbers. So a dip to me in the TV ratings could be balanced by an increase in streaming numbers, but we'll never know. So pundits and trolls will conclude league interest is down when in fact it could be up. Both sides need to release their streaming numbers. Let's be honest, put our cards on the table, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can figure out what we're doing here. Now, in our household, we canceled our cable last month, and we've been watching all the games, UFL games, on streaming for the first time. Other thing that the UFL marketing staff numbers, they also said the league hired more than 30 new business staff, which includes marketing directors for all 8 clubs, along with another 12 ticketing salespeople, 4 new social content producers. You had them before, and 4 new videographers. You also laid them off and then brought new people in. What is the difference? Interesting that they use one of the words used in this 2025 season is cost containment. The league is spending money, but it's on people who can make them more money. High priority putting in conflict with the players union that wants a raise for its members beyond last year's $55,000 salary. So we've talked about that too. So that was kind of what and they are expanding. And I think it's better now than it has been in a couple years. I would even put it on par. No, it's still not as good as XFL 2023. There was a lot more events, but I get it, and fans will accept that part. We'll just have to see how they're going for that. Daryl Johnston takes a cue from your boy Mark and talks UFL expansion with USA Today. Nothing new, really, just some tidbits that he said to USA Today. Not talking about locations, but there was some tidbits to note. Plus, UFL officials are talking to media about expansion, which is a good thing. He said, we're moving towards looking at potential markets that are out there for us that would be a good fit. I think that's one of the things that's most important. Are you the right markets? We know that they're out there. Sources are telling us the process of starting to look at location has been on for some time. There's RFP requests. Months ago, league officials have been whittling down the top contenders. One thing Johnson told USA Today is that the city's proximity to Arlington, Texas hub is not a factor. He went on this out, so that would fall in line with the 2 markets we've been hearing about, Seattle, Washington, and Columbus, Ohio. Seattle will be the farthest location in the United Football League. So that was something that was clarified there. So that there's been a lot of interest from cities in joining the UFL, which shows the league's potential. Yeah. So why don't we just pay the players and close that loop, bros? UFL News Hub has heard from sources that even if 2 more teams are added to the 2026 season, it will not change the length of the season. The plan is to stick to 10-game season in 2026, though, however, this could be up in the air, of course, with the whole pending labor thing. So that was good. Just the fact that they're out there talking expansion is a win. Basically, USA Today and Sports Business Journal seem to be kind of their spots that they go to, so that was a good thing right there. Finally, we'll break it down. The odds for this week, if there is games. St. Louis Battlehawks at Houston Roughnecks, Friday, March 28th at 8 p.m. Battlehawks are -6. Spread. A lot of the spreads are 37.5. This game is on Fox. I'm going clearly with St. Louis Battlehawks. Houston Roughnecks will be the bottom of the team. However, weather could play a factor in that game. Saturday, the one Saturday game at 4 p.m., the Brahmas taking on the Renegades. Brahmas -3. I would take the Battlehawks. I'll take the -6. I'll take the Brahmas in the point spread. Though this game could potentially be closer. Maybe the Arlington Renegades are better. 37.5. I probably would take the over on that one. I would take the under on the first game just due to the weather. Not sure what the weather in Arlington is. Michigan Panthers at Memphis Showboats. Panthers 3.5. Again, 37.5 on the over-under. I think the Showboats, I would have been like, yeah, Showboats definitely, but with the whole coaching thing, I think Mike Nolan takes it in, and that's Sunday, March 30th at 12 p.m. I think the Panthers will win that one. I would take the -3.5 with the Panthers. Stallions, DC Defenders, heck no. Well, I mean, we just got that whole, but our staff is still there, just a different head coach. Stallions -7. I'm taking DC Defenders. I'll take that. I'll take that -7 for the DC Defenders. Over and under 40. I might even for fun take the over on that. That game is on ESPN. And America's team with the upset. Your team, the DC Defenders, with the upset. Lock it in, my friends there. Lock it in. All right, finally, let's wrap up the show with an email. How do you think the opener will go? This is from Rich. They advertise the heck out of it, and I believe they are not putting the best teams together. I have a bunch of people over, and we'll never hear the end of it if it's terrible. This is the problem. This is the problem for UFL fans. I hear you. Expectations are low when they are playing Vegas, number 2 with a number 8, who is planning this. As not a good, but maybe they just want the Battlehawk. Again, the Dome at the first game of the season is where you want to do it. But we don't know what's going on, and the scheduling stuff has been really difficult for the UFL. I don't understand the players. They will not have to worry about compensation if they don't get viewers, and not being ready won't help them or the people watching. I think they lost track of the building a new league with potential NFL eyes on you versus thinking this is a career. You are a AAA of baseball and a cut away from going back to the real world. Am I being short-sighted? I believed that way too, Rich, but I've kind of come around. Again, they're not looking to make $100,000 a year. I mean, maybe with some of the quarterbacks, they got paid well in the XFL. Have some kind of structure, get a raise every year. I mean, no one's got a raise. Do you want to work at a job where you don't get a raise at all? And then like the stipend and all this other kind of stuff. There was hotels that were paid for, and then the USFL didn't do that. So I don't know what's going on, but I think I think there's a solid foundation. You just got to fix this one piece. But just if the players aren't happy, a lot of them are just like, so what? We'll just go home. And that's it. So is the hotel anything the players or other fans will be out, or a place? I'm not sure we was talking about that. Always appreciate you and the news. Best to you and your family. Rich, thank you as always checking in. I mean, it's an understandable take based on what's going on. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's that year-round health insurance. Remember, if you're training year-round for this league and you're making $50,000, say you're making $60,000, then you're taking away taxes. I mean, you're making like 30 or 40, you know what I mean? You're not making a lot of money. You're not getting $60,000 cash at the end of the day. And so make it worth their while. Make it something that it's almost like these players would be rather, the problem with the CFL is that it's like the exchange rate and all this other stuff. And probably I wouldn't want to be an American player playing in the CFL this year. Just wouldn't want to deal with that. So make it worth their while. I think if you pay the players better, I mean, especially with the NFL should step in. Hey, man, we can, and remember, the NFLPA did step in. Pay these guys a little bit more, and maybe we'll get some guys that normally might not have been like, I'm not going to deal with this, to actually doing it and seeing what's up. And maybe those guys will make it to NFL rosters and help out NFL franchises. And my super conspiracy in the end, I think the NFL wants to expand in Europe. And in order to do Europe, you need 4 teams. Where are you going to get all those players from? You're not going to wipe out all the franchises. You're going to pull from a strong foundation, which would be the UFL. Now, the other thing that was been put out there, I think Anthony Miller put it out there, and I've heard this before, is that the problem is, what if college football starts playing in the spring and they have some kind of tournament or something like that? That could hurt the UFL. So they need to strike while the iron's hot, get a popular product, and then they're good to go there. All right, my friends, we're going to have a live episode on Friday at 7 p.m. no matter what happens. If we're here, we're not here, whatever. And we'll get some guests. We'll look at some DFS fantasy stuff. I didn't want to pull it in. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been putting a lot of effort into this and into fantasy football, the News Hub Fantasy. I built the phone apps this year, and I'm like, what if I were working on something else? Could I be in the next Chat GPT? But instead I work on this, and I don't make anything off of it. We can't even find writers. I have been struggling. If you want to write for us, info@uflnewshub.com. I can't even get people to write. We got our core people in place, and they're hardcore. I need more of them. And when the UFL XFL came out in 2020, and even the USFL, I had tons of people. I had lists of people. And so with ticket sales, not an interest in writing for the league. I'm just worried that we're running into something that maybe this league is just not going to make it. And the interest is not there. But I will fully support it. UFL News Hub is a marketing wing of the UFL. That's what we are. That's how I look at us. We're here to put the league over and to draw fans in. We need more. I like to see more podcasts and more social media channels and stuff, even though X is garbage, but just a glorified Russian bot farm. Get no traffic from that whatsoever. So trying these different social media platforms. But also, is it just the lack of interest in the UFL? Is that the problem too? So anyway, that's it for me, folks. As always, God bless. We will see you on Friday live. Make sure you come in 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go live up until kickoff. We'll see how this all is going to play out. It should be a lot of fun and excited to. I'm concerned. I'm not super excited, and I've said this too. If the league decides, that they're going to go with scab players, then I'm out. I'm not doing this until there's a contract in place, just because I'm not with you, and I don't think it's going to work. So, and I don't make any money off of this anyway. So, I'm kind of like in the players' boat. I'm doing this because I want this to succeed. And I want to help this league succeed, but I'm not making any money. So it's well, if you're going to be cheap about it, then I'm out too. But I did pay for my season tickets. But I told my wife already, I was like, if there's a strike going on and they somehow in 3 days bring scab players to the game, I'm not going to that game. And I know they're not going to give me a refund, but I'm not going. I'll hang out at home. I'll play with my dogs. I'll go play golf or something. Or I will read a book. Or I'll stay off my computer. How about that? All right, that's it for me, folks. As always, thanks for watching. God bless. And I will see you. Well, make sure you like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. That's it for me, folks. As always, God bless. And I will see you all on Friday.